I think I might have said the wrong thumbnail for this. Nope, I did not. We are good. Just let me make sure that I have everything properly set up. Rules info. Twitch. Syntax, thank you for the resubscription. Appreciate it, man. First request. I just realized I never actually set up a chat widget here. Or maybe it just straight up doesn't work. I'm not sure. I think a lot of this stuff isn't really working, actually. Come to think. No. It works. It works. What is this event list? I don't remember. Ah, yes. That's what it was for. Forgot it was that. What is the intermission background? I'm not worried about that. What is values again? Nope, we're not doing that today. Okay, time to notify GDS about this. I'll put a link to the YouTube stream for the time being. We already have like 70 viewers on Twitch. That's kind of crazy to me. And yes, I'm going to be doing the first 5 in queue. I know that it's been a lot in demand that I go instead of from 3 to 5, so I will be doing that from now on. Alright. Now that that's been settled, just give me one more minute before I begin. Cool. Only 9 people watching on the YouTube clients, which is cool, I guess. Anyways, Twitch. I'm doing well, Visitech. How are you? Yeah, I'm gonna go randomly after the first 5. Now, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and take care of level requests right now. This stream's probably gonna be for 1 hour. Maybe 2, if I have time. I forgot to set practice mode, but it's okay. I think I'll get through this just fine. Gameplay seems alright. Designs are simple design level. I can appreciate it. Colors are not bad. Ah, that spike annoys me. My only gripe with this visual so far, other than the fact that, of course, it's just pretty standard design stuff, is that there are some television lines that are used in the first part, which I'm not a big fan of, and here too. There's definitely a specific aesthetic, or like a shader being used here, maybe, and I'm just not a fan of it. But it's not that overbearing. Decent use of the bounce out trigger. I don't mind this too much. I noticed that there's multiple overlapping elements in the background, and while they're not really intrusive all that much, I do wonder if all of that is necessary. You have these, I don't know what the name of these objects are. You can find them in the chain tab. You can find those there. And then you have these lower opacity objects from the pixels tab too. That is also there. I might be wrong, not the pixels tab, but those 2.2 objects. It's a little bit of a visual noise in the background, but nothing too bad. Gameplay is pretty enjoyable, I have to say. I guess my main complaints after playing through all of this is the fact that a lot of the colors feel very desaturated, and it's all the same. The colors themselves aren't bad, but the elements that we see on the screen are generally very similar throughout, even if the block designs are different from time to time. So there's a part of me just hoping that there was more significant visual changes that can make things even more interesting. Not that it has to, but it would make things more visually intriguing, I feel. But the gameplay helps with it. Starting off strong, I guess we could send this for a feature rating. 5 stars, I guess, makes sense. This could technically get 6, but they said 5. It could probably get 6, but eh. The gameplay is not that problematic, really. Alright, next one. My throat. Creator point 0018. I think that's the name of their alt account. Oh, wait, this is their 18th birthday, my bad. Give me 1 second. Lax04 made that part. I still never really liked this song at all. I'm not a big fan. Archimeda. I'm guessing that this is a collaboration that was made to celebrate Golers' birthday between people that isn't actually Golers, which is a nice thing. Vex6, I recognize that. We had Laxo4, Creator Shaggy, Archer Meta, Kiana. I think I missed someone. Cadre? I'm not sure. This might actually be goalers. Didn't like that input. Pretty inconsistent overall, though. Consistency wasn't really important here, it seems. Gameplay is kind of finicky at times. Up rock side? KMJ fire. And Zephyron. The last few parts had some decent gameplay. That wasn't the best transition out there. Jordy's part. Pretty good overall. Obviously there were some consistency issues with the designs, which is to be expected if you're not taking consistency and cohesion seriously. But it was just meant to be a fun level for goalers. Not bad. I'm not sure if I agree with 8. I'll probably send for 9. Alright. Moving on to the next one. Kind of surprised this is still only the second level of the entire stream. And we're already 12 minutes in. Feels really weird streaming at a 3 PM. I'm not used to that. Did I send this level? Just want to make sure I actually hit the send button. Yeah, I did. Halo by Romori. Clean. The yellow outlines that are used for these platforms are a bit hard to see. You already established a bright yellow peach-colored background, and I think that the yellow contrast here, I wouldn't say blends in. I don't think it's the best contrast. You could try experimenting with something a bit more saturated, but it might not stand out as well, so I probably would have just shifted the hue of that outline if it were me. So far though, it's pretty clean. I like what's going on here. I will say though, this wavy detail that's underneath, that's in some sort of color loop, honestly speaking, the level could have just been fine without it in its entirety. You could just, this part would still look pretty clean, and I think this would be less intrusive, because where you have the clean designs, when you have something flashy that's underneath, your attention just shifts from the focal point of the level, really just shifts all the way to that specific object, which I think kind of detracts from the ability to fully appreciate the block designs. Those are some pretty good backgrounds, and I like the shader usage here. Nice. This was pretty good. Inspiration: Victor, Zen Axel, Lariaki, and Audiovisual. All four are very fundamentally different creators, but I can definitely see the Wicktord and Lariaki inspiration, and Zen Axel too. I think audio-visual inspiration is probably the least that I've seen here. It's more so the three, especially Wicktord and Lariaki. Both phenomenal modern creators. The Zen Axel too, they've improved so much since. But yeah, this is quite good, actually. What difficulty were they going for? 6 stars. Someone sent this for Epic? Cool. Seems like something we should do. I shall now take a bite of the nachos. 'Anyways, skip queue is disabled, by the way. Just letting you know. I'm just gonna make sure it turns off. Yeah, it's off. Okay, we're moving on to the 4th level. One second. One, two, three. Put the like there. I turned off my face cam because I wasn't feeling comfortable with it on. So I do apologize in advance. Anyways, here we go. Okay, anyways, where were we at? This was pretty good, actually. I'm not sure, but I couldn't help but feel like the level had some partial inspirations from Heinz, who was a really good creator, but sadly he's a bad person, so we don't talk about him. But yeah, I really like this level. Feature, Zen. You know, for a split second, I kind of hesitated and thought about sending it for, like, Epic, because I really liked the level overall. Usually 1.9 levels don't really get Epic from what I've seen, so I don't think it would mean much. Wait, was this my first attempt? You're telling me I beat it in practice mode in one attempt? Damn, okay. Okay. Moving on. And the last one before we do randomize. Harder 7 stars, I think. Starling by Finity. We have 4 straight sends, which is pretty cool. Also, Starter, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've ever seen you chill in my stream before. So it's cool to see you here. How do I do VIP thing again? VIP starter X with an underscore. Okay, cool. Enjoy your perks. I don't know what perks are there to begin with, but I hope you enjoy. I'm putting thumbs up behind the screen. You can't see me, but I am doing it right now. Okay. Let's go ahead. Eclipse by Starling by Finity. Okay, cool. Not huge on the colors here so far. Or really just how the colors are distributed. I'm not really a big fan of like very solid colored block designs the way that this is done. Oh, is this... Okay, gets much better. Cool. I like this part. I don't really like the inverted color. It's not really inverted, but like the opposite distribution of colors here, I'm not as big of a fan of. But the transitions are nice. Ah, this was pretty good. Cool. Not too much for me to say about this level. I think this comment summarizes it. I think that the parts become even better after the first part, which honestly I thought was really underwhelming. Everything else I think was pretty well done. I don't have too many complaints about that. I think it's a solid feature rating. Alright, let's go ahead and send that. We have sent 5 straight levels for feature. That is cool. Well, 5 straight levels for feature and above, because we had that one epic send. PNCSR, I don't know how to say your username out loud, but thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. Billy Steak, thank you for the 3 bits. I appreciate it. Choplux, thank you for the 1 bit and the Dorito symbol. I appreciate that as well. Anyways, we are going to randomize now. Can anyone take a guess as to how many requests I have right now? People are saying 248, 254, 310, 650. The correct answer is 370. The number that I pulled was 149, and for the level ID that this person submitted, they just gave me a Google Doc form, which is not a level ID, so unfortunately that's getting deleted. We are going to randomize this again. We get 119. This is an insane platformer level. I am intrigued to see. "10 SP rooms. Second platformer level inspired by 60 rooms of funny. But it's 10 rooms. Just wish the designs had more variety. What else are people saying? Volplay played it, huh? 4x3 mode, I beg of you. Okay. That's a comment that concerns me because my monitor's small. Oh, there is literally no 4x3 mode. Do I go underneath? That orb really annoys me. I know that this part is really not that hard, but... God damn it. There... Yeah, so I died to something that I can't even see. I died to something I can't even see again. Oh, you can't go through that chain. And that's about it. I think this level has too many derivative ideas from how to platform it just from aesthetics alone. There's really not much variation other than a hue change and really just a solid color of just every detail there. It's just really underwhelming, and I wish that there was more actual solid detail rather than just a single color just being the basis of all the details. Furthermore, this level suffers from the fact that there is no 4x3 mode, just like another comment has said, which means that for players like me, it is very easy to die to something that is off-screen that I would not be familiar with, and it throws me off too. I only had to make the inference that you had to enter from underneath in order to advance, but then there's also spikes that are way without I cannot see, which makes it harder to play. So this is unfortunately a no send for me. I love wasting my bits on normal messages. Sure thing. Alright, next level. Well, so we have 388 requests. What number are we getting? And just to make it clear, I am streaming both on Twitch and both on YouTube. There are different audiences for both. And also because I'm using a form system, that means people are definitely going to just pass the form around to Discord servers and then try to get a bunch of people to send requests in without actually attending the stream. Hand. Level's kind of cool so far. Okay, these spikes, they have a white color to them, right? And you have this moon in the background that also has a white color to them. So when they overlap, there's no contrast between the two, or if there is, I can barely see it. So I think that there could have been better contrast so that you can be able to visibly and distinctly see the subject that is the structures and the hazards and what is background. If those two overlap, I don't think it's the best looking experience. But overall, otherwise, the level looks pretty nice. Pretty straightforward and linear ship part. I don't really care much for this gameplay, but it's not bad. I do like the design scheme. I take a Tostito chip, I dip it in the guacamole, and I eat it. Anyways, this is not bad. FG stands for foreground, BG stands for background, just to make it clear. Feature, again, it's not that bad. It's pretty good. So all of our sends so far have been feature or higher, which is a great start. If you know me, I tend to have like, I don't know if I can call myself strict. I don't know what are my standards to you guys. I've heard people say that I'm very lenient. I've heard people say I'm strict. Then people say I'm on the middle. I've also seen people use Insidious as standards as a way of comparing myself to it. So I don't really know what that means. But in any case, I like to think that I have a specific set of values for what I'm looking for, and more often than not, when I do these streams, I tend to send more levels for star rates than feature. So the fact that 6 of our sends today have been feature or higher is really good to me. Okay, we have over 400 requests, by the way. Floral Symphony. Alright, let's play this level. My Olophone song, Floral Symphony. Let's take a look. The outside world. I'm personally not a big fan of these colors, The reason why is because they are very strikingly saturated, which isn't necessarily a huge issue per se. I just think that something like the red roses would be better if they were turned a bit pinkish, a bit more desaturated. But I think I'm just a sucker for desaturated colors, so I'm not really used to this. I do like these block designs a lot more in comparison because I think that their color distribution, it matches everything nicely. I think the clouds could have more visual lateral movement to them. The fact that they are static, well, they're not static. You can see that they're moving, but slowly. And in if you were really outside, you would notice that clouds tend to move a bit slower. Not a bit slower. It really depends on the perspective of where you're at. Considering I'm assuming that this gameplay is grounded, these clouds should be moving faster within the x-axis. The x-axis. So the fact that they're passing by the screen quickly does feel odd. There's a nice variety of designs here, but I have mixed opinions on how they're executed. If you were to ask me, the previous part had nicer gray colors than this one. Really not a fan of this background. I was half expecting for that character to turn around and smile or something like that. Okay, so I have mixed opinions on this level. Everything overall looks static. I kind of agree. I think that if this level had movement in general, I think that it would be more lively and vibrant. Vibrant would apply to colors, not necessarily movements, but just having movements would make the level feel more alive, especially when a lot of the aspects of the level have to do with nature or just the outside world. So having more movements and just making the level feel more animated could give off a more meaningful vibe. I think another issue that I have with the level is the fact that, I have a really hard time articulating it. Like, the background is generally lackluster with just these clouds, which is okay. I don't mind them all that much. But the backgrounds are just really only clouds. You would have expected that maybe there could be more meaningful backgrounds, but the other backgrounds outside of the clouds are really just things that connect to the layers, to the foreground layer, like these bricks, which are meaningful, don't get me wrong. I just think that the way they're executed could have been a lot more impactful were they not so static. I think that there were other ways to go about these designs that could enhance it even further. I nearly saw something I didn't mean to see here, but I think that's purely accidental. Anyways, for example, something like this tile set. You can see that a lot of these elements are more lighter. The white being able to contrast with this sky blue, it's nice. I really like how it contrasts. Something like the gray, however, I think... Which gray was it? These ones. I think that the contrast between this and the sky are less impressive. I have a hard time explaining why. I wish I had the terminology for colors better. But I will say that it's less harmonious and not as pleasant to say, per se. I think I would have probably made this darker, and I'd probably have reduced the bricks here, if anything. Probably would have focused on adding something to the background, if anything. The sword's pretty cool, though. And I think my biggest issue with the level really comes from this final part here. I think the vines here are a nice touch-up for the level, but... like, these vines... Sorry. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I know that what I'm saying is kind of, like, gibberish, but, like... These foreground thorns that I'm clicking on, I think that they work from a thematic perspective. But then when you have something like this, especially with how it was moving in the layer, if you remember, it just sticks out negatively because you have a lot of different like colors that are of different saturations, white being, of course, white. And then you have like the blue background, which has a bit of saturation to it, but then when you have like this dark green, it does not contrast that well with the blue, especially for how much it's been used on screen. And I think that this is easily the weakest part of the level. Nonetheless, I know this is all to say that the creator has the right ideas from an artistic perspective on how to execute a theme. However, there is a lot more polish that needs to be executed with that decoration, and just a more directed set of ideas in order to fully enhance and capture the intended aesthetic and mood that they're going for, rather than just stick to firmly static details. And if they were to improve their color choices some more, it could even go out further. So really, the basis of my complaints are the static aspects of the level, the colors, and progression. And I gotta leave a comment for, what's it called, the colors. I think a star rate is fine enough for now. Probably on the generous side, but hopefully it helps. Welcome to the stream, Exploited. Alright. Next level, please. Yes, this is randomized, by the way. 434 requests. We're increasing that number, I guess. 369! Cool. Insane classic level. Cosmic Duck by Crisp Apple. Crispy Apple? Getting 2.0 vibes from this. The intro almost reminded me of Space Locked, which is my second hardest level. But yeah, I'm getting major 2.0 vibes from this. This gameplay is kind of jank. Not sure what just toggled off there, but I noticed something toggle off. I just wish everything wasn't so dark. Not a fan of how that glow's used there. Okay, so now it starts to use 2.2 textures, which I think are just really shoehorned in for the sake of. I thought the previous parts were cleaner on that front, but then when you just insert the 2.2 textures, not 2.2, 2.1 finger dash textures that are outlined outside the platforms here, you're working with more textured elements that I just don't think work well. Then you get this orange lava, which I really don't think contrasts well with the saturated blue. I don't really understand what was the line of thinking here, to be honest. I mean, I guess it gives a raw vibe, which, if that was the intended effect, sure, I can embrace that. But I can't say I'm the biggest fan of that decision. And I wish that the transitions leading up to the next part had more time to read or just react. Also, I'm not sending this. If I am sending this, I'm not sending this for Insane like the request suggested. I'm probably gonna send it for Demon, but it remains to be seen if I will send it. Right now, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm all for nostalgia, but I feel like the execution of the different parts are a bit. I wouldn't say a bit. It's quite misguided because a few parts, it's like different ideas kind of just shoehorned in together. Really. And that's the style switch again. I mean, in 2.0, it probably would get 9 stars because the difficulty of levels were so much different in ranking back then. There's some, like, 7 stars that were literal demons back then. Is Laser Blitz an inspiration there? No, but True Skull Pause, Rob Buck, Azurtiop, Alex Kazam, The Bernie, The Evolution 2, Radiation V2, Mega Man, okay, Pan Man. Was this actually made in 2018? Uploaded my old level with a fresh coat of paint. So this is a re-upload from an old time. I see. So this actually is an old level. But then they added some 2.1 elements to it that I just don't think it works at all. So I'm a bit... I say a bit a lot, I'm sorry. I'm quite unsure what I want to do with this level. On the one hand, I appreciate the nostalgia as a nostalgist for like 1.9 and 2.0 stuff. So I could see how raw this level is, but at the same time, I feel like there's fundamental design choices that were not really well executed, and the way that it incorporates 2.1 elements and certain other colors, it just doesn't really mesh well as I was expecting. The gameplay is also questionable, transitions did not age well, and I don't really see all the parts lining itself well together. Because I don't think there was a set idea or pacing in mind, I feel. If there was, then I kind of missed the point of that. I do like more polished things, so this is unfortunately a no send for me. Alright, that's my thoughts on this level. Grass is green, why water is yellow? What are these questions? Is Infra Bunny? You tell me. Am I? There is a correct answer to this, by the way. 454 requests. That's crazy. Number 68. This is a hard classic level. Okay, my AC is making this room cold, so I have to turn it off. Just give me 1 second. Okay, my AC is currently off, so we can stream for a bit more. No, the AC being off has nothing to do with my stream time. Paraguay existe. I don't know how to say that. Yes, Paraguay is a country that exists. Is this a K9? What's the name of the creator? Kilua or something like that? First part reminds me of their style. No, it's not them. Very linear level. Design schemes are okay, but gameplay is minimal. Colors are okay. Don't really like these borders. Yep, this is the creator I'm looking for. UK1TKU1. I don't know how to say their username or pronounce it, but the level style reminds me largely of their style. It is repetitive. I do agree with that. Did someone say this is stolen? I'm not sure if it's stolen. This guy has creator points. They would. I would not remember this guy's username. This one. Definitely feels like something they would make. Yeah, I'm not gonna play this for too long. UK1T UKN. UK1T UKN. UK1T UKN. Okay. Do I want to send this level? I, once again, am on the case of if I want to or if I don't. I'm not sure. You know what? Sure. Oh, I think I'm getting a comment on YouTube. Sure, I'll probably send first star, right? I'm sending it within the idea that I'm doing it in good faith. Hopefully it is. I will admit that the level didn't really make me feel anything. The designs are baseline. They're fine for what it's worth, but it's very linear, very repetitive. Nothing particularly exciting about that. I could have also just not sent, but it does... The gameplay's okay, I guess. I don't know. Alright, let's do the next one. 459 requests. The next number is 72. That's cool. I just don't know. I'm sorry that you don't know. Not particularly moved by these block designs, just really not my thing, not my cup of tea. Too simple for my liking. This random structure does not have a 3D element to it like all the other structures do. I think it's just there for the existence of this black orb. Kind of looks odd, especially when a lot of these structures aren't really that close to each other that low. Loki, you could just get away with just removing this black orb and this platform entirety. But oh well. Gameplay feels weird already for some reason. This part has nicer colors. To be honest, I think that in this part, the 3D doesn't really work well here. I think that you could have actually gotten away with removing it in its entirety. Or you could have adopted a similar shape as the 3D that's used on these structures. But I also think that the saturated blue that's used, not really saturated, but like, it's more saturated than the spike. I think that there could have been a bit more noticeable contrast of it. It's not that hard to tell what's the spike and what's the platform, but still, a little bit more distinction wouldn't have hurt. This part has the best colors so far. I like the saw designs a lot, not so much the block designs. Block designs, I don't really feel much for it, don't really care about that. I don't like the gameplay in this part. What's with the orbs being so constrained to these saw blades and spikes? What difficulty is this level going for? It's going for a harder 6-7 star, but with how congested it is together, it feels more like an 8, if anything. It's kind of annoying, actually. Okay. I think every other part's colors are fine except for the first one. First one definitely had the weakest colors. I think that other parts... It gets better color-wise. I think the last part had the best colors. The first one had the weakest colors. And also probably the most underwhelming design distribution. So they do show a progressively stronger understanding of the design schemes that work with modern. Whereas the first part didn't. Where this level loses me is really just the gameplay. I probably would have sent this for star rate if the gameplay was fine enough, but it isn't. So unfortunately, this is not really something I'm going to send. So, yeah, I'm not gonna send this personally. Give me 1 second. I don't think I'm gonna be streaming for 1 more hour, but I can take about 5 more requests. Let's do 5 more requests and then I'll end it off there. I'm getting a lot of numbers within the first 100, so I'm just gonna click the RNG again so I could get something over 200. We get 205. Another classic level. You guys want to reset? Okay. After this request, I'll do so. Yawn by William Lechat YouTube. I like the fabled like dark lines that are to the right of that teal bolded lines in the structures. Makes for nice textures. Background, I don't really feel much for it. It does lean heavily on the simple side. I like how the saw blades in the background are moving, but you can tell that these saw blades are just scaled up and then there's just one that's overlapped behind it, without really much strong contrast to them. Really, in my opinion, you could have overlooked that by copy-pasting some saw blades onto each other and then burying that color, and then copy-paste some more and then move it down so it has the other color so that they look like actual saw blades that don't end up feeling transparent. Maybe it is a design choice to have it transparent, I just can't say it worked the best here. And all in all, I would have to say that the design scheme of this level is somewhat lackluster. I'm not particularly amazed by it. Not my cup of tea. Sorry. Alright, I see a number of people asking for a form reset, so we can go ahead and do that. But if I'm taking 5 more requests, I'm going to, what's it called? I'm gonna have to do them all random, because I know that people are gonna send a boatload of requests all at once. So, 3, 2, 1, form has been reset. I already got 17 responses anyways. I'm gonna give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then I'll randomize from there. Just so everyone can get their request in. Alright. Let's go ahead. We have 97 requests in. Let's do that. Well, now we have 100, but I already got the number. It's 8. Cratered Inferno by TS Zebra Player. What? I don't really like what was done with the orbs there. I like the glowiness of these structures. Surprisingly works well. Damn. Damn. These large structures in the background that I'm assuming are supposed to represent large wooden trees. I don't really like how they're moving at a very fast x-axis, but looks very slow in perspective. I just think it looks odd, especially when you got these elements, these diagonal elements that have essentially the same color as that background element. I don't think that was the best decision there. Where a bunch of the design schemes of this level was otherwise not bad. Very orange level. And to be honest, I did like the design scheme overall. I do think that it does lean heavily. Hang on. Just gonna play it one more time to get a full feel for it. I think this first part kind of sucks in gameplay. Everything else gets better from there. Also notice that it used area tint pretty nicely. Sure. Get the feature send. I probably would have leaned more into a star rate, but I think this level just has enough understanding of how to enhance the level with its pulses and area tint to get the feature send. Alright, we're down to the 4th level. We already have 130 requests. We get the number 39. Crazy how only one of these have been platformers so far. I can fix you by the coconut block. I don't really like the shader usage here. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this design scheme at all. Personally, the shader usage I think does not look great. The color choices, The chromatic aberration, definitely trying to be indicative of a certain vibe, sort of retro vibe, but I don't think it works well here. We saw a couple of palm trees in the level 2, certainly trying to go for this. I know that there's a name for this aesthetic. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but whatever aesthetic it's going for, I don't think they matched it very well. Doesn't really deviate much from being a 9 circles level, all in all, either. These black lines that are in the background, they don't look great. Okay, so you could reach that part by accident. That was actually not a bad transition. I like that. But then the design, it just takes you to the wave part, which just has the same design scheme again. And somehow I did that. I don't remember how Anathema looks like. Not a fan of this level so far. Why did Microsoft Store open? I don't care about the Microsoft Store. Sorry, aren't the palm trees ripped from Anathema? Are they? Again, I'm not familiar with the level in itself. If the editor opens. Which part has palm trees? Yeah, okay, so this one is has a vaporwave aesthetic, so there might be palm trees somewhere here. I'm assuming you mean this. Why does that have 287,000 objects? Damn. And then this one. No, it's not the same. It's fine. But this is not a send for me anyway. We need a character limit increase, please. Alright. How many levels left? I think we have 2 more levels left. This is was the third one. We have 138 requests. The second to last level is number 75. This is a harder classic level. People said 3? Okay, fine, we'll do 3 more. So this is the third last level. Snow World by PP the Cat 666. Weird gameplay. What's going on with this seal? This seal is you know. Okay. This was pretty good though. I enjoyed it. I like the cartoony aesthetic. I don't really have too many complaints about the visuals. I think that some elements could have had a little bit of a stronger contrast. I probably would have made these browns a bit darker. And I think that certain art styles don't mesh well the best, because you have these elements that don't have these bold outlines, but then you have this car that does have bold outlines. Same with certain animals too that are depicted across the screen. So I think that just making sure that the I wouldn't say brush strokes, but like in an artistic setting, you want to make sure that your designs are consistent in style. And if you have things with like thick outlines, then I think that you should be cautious of how you do your other decorations so that they work together and harmonize well. But I think this level's quite nice. Are you gonna end the stream or reset the queue? I'm gonna end the stream. That's what I was thinking. I already streamed for what time? I've already been streaming for 1 hour and 17 minutes. Don't want to stream for too long, otherwise I'll get bored. They said 6. I'll send for 6. Anyways, 2 more. What's going on with Twitch chat? Why are they freaking out? The seal is having a seizure? That's what I was thinking too, but I didn't know if saying that would be offensive. $85. We somehow are dodging a lot of demon levels today. Usually I get a lot of demon suggestions, but not much today. This is the second last level. Damn. This is probably the weakest part visually. I think this just went a lot more simpler than it should have been. And the structuring kind of just gets a bit underwhelming. I didn't mind the first part, I thought it was fine, but yeah, I'm not really whelmed by the block design here. I think it leans towards the simpler and simpler side, and I just think that it leads to an underwhelming experience by the end. Consistent in the sense of capturing a certain theme, but I think the block design starts to degrade with each passing part. I'm not sure why that one part decided to go for a slower speed and had like more distance blocks, and the way that those ground spikes that were attached in these curved shapes were approached, I don't think that I like that a lot. I've never been a fan of that type of approach in structuring, and I know that's really just a personal thing, but when you have a lot of things that are just maintaining the simplistic rectangular format and whatnot, having something of this change in how you structure things, it comes off as kind of odd to me. So unfortunately, this will not be a send for me. Now, we're gonna do the last level, which is... we have 157 requests remaining. So we randomize it, and we get the number 12. Let us play that. This is a hard classic level, again. Stefan C41K Gamer. GD YouTubers. Warning, epilepsy. This level has 4 Russian YouTubers: D Cody, Richardman, GD, Mafaka, Demonellis, builds. Weird transition. I wasn't a fan of the first part's block design. These transitions aren't particularly great. And I've seen some levels have this type of color distribution where it's just fast rainbow glow, circular glow inside the structures. I don't like how rapid they are. I don't like how they're utilized here. I think I've seen iMortalX include glow in a similar fashion. Was never really a fan of that. Also, you're lacking corner pieces for the block designs here. Somehow I made past that. This is better. The way that these lasers are inside these structures, I probably would have thought either IMAX or Grax. This part is substantially better. Have a good finish, please. I really don't like these transitions or the gameplay. Yeah, this is a no-send for me. The transitions were sudden, white flashes to break up the parts, which not really just a personal thing of me not liking it. It's just you don't have enough readability for what else is to come. And the way that the player is thrown upwards mid-transition for some of these parts, you're not able to read the oncoming gameplay as well, and with how frequent they are sometimes, it's just really a massive subversion of expectations, and it's overall a pretty jarring visual experience. I'm sorry, but this would have to be a no-send for me. So that would be it. I think I have done all the level request streams I need for today. End on a send. I've been streaming for almost 1.5 hours, so sorry. So, I'm probably gonna end the stream here. I'm feeling tired already, got some things to do. I also want to work on my level too, so I think I shall end this stream here. Tricipital is streaming right now, so go ahead and tune on to his stream. I'm gonna end the stream right